Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Thank you for tuning in. I want to start off this video by saying that there are no winners in what we are about to discuss. However, unfortunately, there is one loser, and that is poor BBJ. As everyone has probably found out by now, it has been confirmed that BBJ passed away. The circumstances surrounding her passing are unclear. However, it does appear that she passed away sometime in 2023. Yes, 2 years ago. Now, as far as the community was aware, BBJ was fine and doing well. The community was told that unless something changes, BBJ is still with us. Naturally, many people are upset by this revelation. Now, I have heard it said that this was all a lie by omission, but I tend to have a different take on it. Now, as we tend to do on this channel, we are going to take a look at a timeline, a reverse timeline. Other than going through the timeline, my comments will be very limited because the facts need to speak for themselves. There are many examples floating out there, such as presents being bought for BBJ last Christmas and other examples of that nature. Those are not the ones that we will be talking about here today. We are going to be focusing on things that were said much more recently and things which are a bit more obscure that may have been forgotten. So we will go through this timeline and then I'll offer some comments at the end. So let's get to it. So we are going to hop back in time approximately 4.5 months ago to the end of June. And at the end of June, Foodie Beauty was in Canada, and this is when she had Smokey. Foodie Beauty was made an offer. If she handed over Smokey, she would receive a used car. This was something that Foodie really wanted. Foodie Beauty did not take the offer. However, in the text message exchanges, Foodie Beauty did ask about BBJ, and she said, "Is BBJ still alive? Let me know. I won't tell anyone." Foodie did not receive an answer. However, after the exchange fell through, the community was told that had Foodie accepted the offer, she would have seen a video of BBJ that was taken barely 2 weeks prior. This was not a lie for Foodie Beauty. This was a lie for the community. Foodie wouldn't have known if there was a video or not or what have you. Again, Foodie did not take the offer. This is something that was told specifically to the community. That is not a lie by omission. That is a lie that has been created with intention. This would mean that there is a video of BBJ being alive and well in mid-June of 2025. However, if we are to believe the video of BBJ that has been circulating around YouTube for the last 24 hours, that was from November of 2023. The second example from our timeline is on or around the same time, so just this past summer, give or take. And a comment was made about BBJ that used the past tense. A viewer caught on to this and said, "Hey, you said lived her best life. Why did you use the past tense?" And I am paraphrasing here. In response, this person was belittled, berated, humiliated, treated or spoken to the way that Foodie is treated and spoken to. This is a viewer, a supporter, potentially a member, and they got read for filth. Super chats for BBJ did come in after that in an act of defiance, I suppose. Next, we're going to go back to November of 2024, so 1 year ago. So we are talking about November 1st or November 2nd, and this person who is allegedly the brother was being spoken about quite well because they had delivered a gift. I believe it was a birthday gift. And whatever this gift was, I don't think it was ever made clear. They had done a good job Apparently, they had gone over the top and they had definitely delivered. And yet, according to what was said in the BBJ announcement yesterday, this person is a degenerate who is all about money. The next part of the timeline goes back to 2023 and possibly even before that. And here I want to bring up Amy Flowers. Amy Flowers is somebody who was always in Foodie Beauty's chat and is somebody who was also responsible in egging Foodie Beauty to do a lot of, or many of, her most well-known antics. One of them being going to the home of the one who shall not be named and peek through the windows to see if he was there. Amy Flowers was also supposedly part of the BBJ rescue. In fact, Amy Flowers was allegedly the brother's wife. The thing is, the brother is not married. I don't think the brother has ever been married. And yet this Amy Flowers was referred to as the sister-in-law. Does Amy Flowers even exist? Could her initials make her a doppelganger? Those are the 4 points which, in my opinion, are very telling. Now, there are some who may say that I don't care about morals and ethics, I'm just here to be entertained. To that, I will say 85% of the content which surrounds Foodie Beauty is about Foodie not having morals and ethics. Every time Foodie says that people are against her because of her size, the common retort is, no, that has nothing to do with it. It's because you are not a good person. Not being a good person has to do with ethics and morals. So to say that one is not here for that is kind of missing the point because it is about that. The other point that I have seen made is that money was never explicitly requested, and that may be true. However, being able to bask in the afterglow of the BBJ rescue indefinitely kind of tells a different story. And this is where the comments about buying BBJ things for Christmas come in, because then you are opening up the door for people to donate towards BBJ for the holidays or for whatever occasion is brought up. As I mentioned in our timeline review, when the person asked why BBJ was referred to in the past tense and was berated for it, people did make super chats for BBJ in an act of defiance. That would mean that money was coming in for BBJ 2 years after she had passed away. Now, in the comments section of previous videos on this channel, we have often discussed the Beezers and why they continue to hang on to Foodie Beauty despite all of the things that she does. They have seen her grift time and time again, and yet there they are sending her more money, which is never used for the intentions for which she is soliciting it. Now, I think that there are 2 reasons for that. Number 1, I think that many of the Beezers do see themselves in some way, shape, or form in Foodie Beauty. The second reason is probably a lot more relevant to what we are discussing here. When people have an affinity towards someone, whether that's because they like them, they respect them, they agree with their opinions, or they are entertained by them, when that person does something wrong, it is very difficult to accept. It is hard to accept that one has been swindled, manipulated, conned, outsmarted, played. You get the point. It is much easier to double down and pretend that it didn't happen or to make justifications for the person than to admit that you were wrong and that you were manipulated in the situation. We see this a lot with celebrities and with politicians, that when they get caught in some type of a scandal, their supporters, again, double down and make up all of these excuses for them about why they're being perceived incorrectly or why what they did isn't as bad as it is. And while this human reaction is understandable on some level, I think it is very important to be discerning, to listen objectively, to pay attention, and to remember. The details always tell the full story. And one more thing, the only one who matters in all of this is BBJ. BBJ deserved better. And yes, of course, none of this would have happened if not for Foodie Beauty. And we have talked about this in the past, and we will talk about this again. However, regardless of that, BBJ deserved much, much better. I think we can all agree on that. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening, and until the next one.